This Feast of St. Joseph, EWTN News In Depth wanted to dig deeper into the essential role of fathers in today's society with an organization devoted to strengthening and protecting the family. We traveled to the headquarters of the Knights of Columbus in New Haven, Connecticut, to speak to the Knights' newly installed leader. He's been on the job now for 3 weeks. Here's Supreme Knight Patrick Kelly on the record.
Well, Supreme Knight Patrick Kelly, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview with EWTN News In Depth.
Thank you, Monsi. It's great to be here.
We want to get to know you in this new role. Why did you become a knight?
I became a knight out of friendship and brotherhood. I'm from a family of knights. My grandfather joined the Knights in 1915 before he left for World War I. And my father was a knight, a longtime knight, up until the time of his death. So I knew about the Knights and I knew what the Knights did, but what attracted me to the Knights was friendship. I was a student at Marquette University. I was a sophomore. And the other men there who were in the Knights were my friends, and I liked them a lot, and I wanted to be with them. These were the kind of men who cared about virtue and they cared about faith, and I wanted to be a part of that. And so I joined the Knights at Marquette University, and I have to say, it were those kinds of friendships where we strengthen one another in the faith, which meant so much to me then and continues to sustain me to this day.
So we're celebrating the Feast of St. Joseph. And the Feast of St. Joseph talks to us a lot about fatherhood. What does fatherhood mean to you?
Well, St. Joseph is the patron of fathers, so he's very important to me and to all members of the Knights of Columbus. I think for me in my life, I have 3 young daughters, and I think I can emulate Joseph through my presence. Obviously through my actions, yes, to protect them and to do what I need to do there, but my presence with them. And I think it's my presence as their father. They need this, and they need this to flourish. And I sense this when I'm with them and when we're together as a family.
Why does fatherhood matter to the future of the church? Why is it critical at home and abroad to have good examples of fatherhood?
It matters because fatherhood is the #1 thing determining the faith life of children. The children need to see the father practice the faith. They're watching all the time. And if the father practices the faith, the studies show the children will remain in the faith as adults. So it's a critically important thing. And it's why the Knights of Columbus have produced a program called Into the Breach, which shows men what an authentic, healthy Catholic masculinity, what that fatherhood really needs to look like, so the father can model that for his children. It's that important.
How is that going to crystallize for men who they need to be for their families?
They need to be a protector and a provider and to pass on that faith. They can't be bystanders. They can't be passive when it comes to the faith of their family. They can't farm it out to their wife or to the school. They need to be active participants.
We've just watched the Cardinal in the first show that we did a couple of weeks ago Cardinal Dolan say that Pope Francis was being a good dad when he went to Iraq to be with the persecuted Christians. How does that fit into the mission of the Knights of Columbus?
I think he was being a good dad when he went there because he was going to visit a vulnerable population, people who have been suffering. The Knights of Columbus care deeply about persecuted Christians, and this goes back to our founding. This is in our DNA. We were founded at a time of intense anti-Catholic bigotry. So concern for those vulnerable populations and for Christians in the Middle East is foundational to us. It's why we have worked with successive administrations to protect Christians in the Middle East. We worked with the Obama administration to get a declaration of genocide, that a genocide was occurring in the Middle East. That work continued to the Trump administration, and we hope it will continue now with our current administration. So on a policy level, we've worked very closely, but also just on a humanitarian level, on the ground in the Middle East. We've worked to rebuild churches and rebuild homes where we needed to.
What's been your experience as an American in defending this country and being a part of that mission?
I think as a person who has served in the military, I learned many things. But when we're talking about the importance of fatherhood and the importance of family, one of the things that I really learned, I was a JAG in the Navy. And so what that meant is I did legal work. So obviously, I dealt with a lot of sailors who were in trouble, and I would defend them at courts-martial. So I would spend time and I would get to know these men who were very good men, but they had made poor decisions that got them into trouble. And after spending so much time with them, I realized that many of them didn't have strong family backgrounds. And so they didn't have a background in how to be responsible, how to make good decisions. They didn't have the formation that so often they needed. And I think that left a lasting impression upon me about the importance of family and the importance of fatherhood.
Pope Francis has called this the year of St. Joseph. How is that a special calling for the Knights of Columbus?
It's very special for the Knights of Columbus. I think Pope Francis continues to go back to St. Joseph in many ways. And here's a story that I'd like to tell you about St. Joseph. So in 2013, it was the first year of Pope Francis's pontificate, and the Knights of Columbus Board of Directors went to meet with him. And what he did at that meeting is he commended us to the intercession of St. Joseph and asked us to have a special devotion to St. Joseph. But he also said something else that was very interesting. He said the Knights of Columbus and St. Joseph shared the virtues of quiet strength, integrity, and fidelity. And he said it is the task of the Knights of Columbus to continue those virtues and to pass them on to future generations. And that really moved us, and I think it sets St. Joseph up for us as a model, and this is why this year of St. Joseph is so important for the Knights of Columbus.
At the end of the month, you're going to celebrate 139 years of the Knights of Columbus. And Carl Anderson, who just stepped down, you're the new Supreme Knight, has a 20-year legacy of commitment to service and a deep, deep advocacy for religious freedom. But it's been said that the greatest thing he did was bring forward the beatification of Father McGivney, if I have that correct. How is that a call to holiness to the order, to you as an order, the Knights, and also to every man?
The beatification of Father McGivney was one of the greatest days in the history of the Knights of Columbus. And I think what it was it was the Lord confirming our founding mission, that founding mission of Father McGivney, where we have been and where we're going. I think it's vitally important. I think for me, as the new Supreme Knight, every decision I make and every decision we make as a team here at the Knights of Columbus will be connected to that founding vision, because I think through the beatification we've seen the Lord confirming that vision, which is to strengthen Catholic men and to strengthen families. And the universal call to holiness is an important reality for every Christian, and that's who we are as Knights. We live out that call as Knights of Columbus, as men and as families dedicated to charity, unity, and fraternity.
Various leaders in the church worry about growing global secularism. Some people call that the rise of the nuns, right? People who are not affiliated to religious institutions. How is the Knights of Columbus an answer or a challenge to that problem?
The Knights is an answer in this way. Pope Benedict had a famous quote some years ago, and he said, "The world will offer you comfort, but you were not made for comfort. You were made for greatness." And at the Knights of Columbus, we believe that to be true, that men and families were made for greatness. They were made to be part of something bigger than themselves. And I think that's the answer to this growing secularism that we're seeing and that we're talking about. The answer is in service to God and in service to neighbor through the great works of charity that the Knights are known for. And it really is being men and being families for others, which is ultimately it's a call, it's a universal call for fidelity to Jesus Christ, and we do that as members of the Knights of Columbus.